Now, every time I do a video game related video, you guys never believe that I'm actually a gamer. You just come for me in the comments like, oh, what a fake gamer girl, SingStar doesn't count as a real game. Okay, firstly, yes it does. And secondly, you guys already know I was a PlayStation fiend, so don't even at me. There are thousands and thousands of video games out there and countless consoles, which made this video hella easy for me. What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host, Ayman Hassan, and welcome back to another video. And please excuse my hair today. It is so humid outside, I can't do anything about it. Even if I straighten it, it's gonna puff up like Hagrid, and you guys are just gonna have to deal with this. So yeah. Either way, today I'm bringing you the top 10 scary video game urban legends. Starting us off at number 10 is Luigi's Mansion. No one can ever turn down a game of Mario Kart, let's be real. It's such a quick, fun game, but honestly, it's hard as hell, especially on the Wii. Like, what are you meant to do when you're going that fast and there are no barriers stopping you from falling into the ether? Either way, at number 10 isn't about Mario Kart, but it is in the Mario world. Luigi's Mansion was one of the earliest games in the franchise, and as you can guess, it's focused on Luigi. The point of the game was to get Luigi through this haunted mansion whilst collecting ghosts along the way. Rumor has it that the original version of the game was a lot darker than the one released, but because they changed everything so last minute, bits from the darker version stayed on. This legend claims Luigi's dead. At one point of the game, he goes into a room to answer the phone and then lightning flashes. On the wall, you can see Luigi's shadow hanging above the ground with his arms next to him. It was so hyper-realistic, more so than the other shadows in the game. In the dark version, maybe Luigi hangs himself and the point is to save him before he does. Either way, I feel bad for the scarred kids that played that version of the game. Coming in at number 9 is Polybius. Now, this urban legend started circulating around 1981 in Portland, Oregon, and it was actually an arcade game. Retro, I know. It was apparently so popular that it got players super addicted to the point lines started forming around the game and people would regularly fight over their turns. Legend has it the game was actually a government-run crowdsourced psychological experiment. Many reported seeing men in black visit the machines in order to collect unknown data from them. Apparently, they would test the responses to the game for psychoactive effects, and most users suffered from hallucinations, amnesia, insomnia, and night terrors. It was said it was a CIA experiment spun off MK Ultra, which is a psychoactive drug study done on unsuspecting subjects. Which I don't even think is legal, but then again, isn't half the stuff the CIA does illegal? The game randomly disappeared without a trace from all arcade markets a month after its release, and that was the end of that. Fun fact of the day, Polybius was also the name of a Greek historian who was known for his claim that historians should never report on things they can't verify through eyewitnesses, which I feel like links to the game also. They wanted to collect first-hand primary data to verify whatever they were trying to find out. Whether they did or not, God knows. At number 8, we have Sheng Long. I feel like you're not a true gamer if you haven't tried your hand at any of the Street Fighter games. It's one of the OG fighting games, but personally I do prefer Tekken over any other fighting game. Either way, this urban legend focuses on the secret mythical character called Sheng Long that was supposedly in Street Fighter 2. The legend originated from a mistranslation of Ryu's victory crow after his Shoryuken attack. The quote translated to, "You must defeat Sheng Long to stand a chance." At that point, any gamer is probably thinking, okay, I now have to either face the final boss that is Sheng Long, or he's a character I haven't unlocked yet, both of which were false. Electronic Gaming Monthly added more fuel to the fire when they published an article with step-by-step instructions on how to unlock Sheng Long, but it was an April Fool's Day prank. But other platforms started reposting the instructions and it just kept going from there. In 1992, the instruction manual of Street Fighter 2 even stated Sheng Long was simply Ryu's and Ken's martial arts teacher, nothing more. But the legend lives on. Filling at number 7 slot is Pale Luna. The game is literally a text-based adventure game in which you move your player through a forest while holding a rope and a shovel. Throughout you playing, you're constantly followed by the moon that creepily smiles when you do certain actions. At the end of the game, the player uses its shovel to dig at a certain location, and then all of a sudden, a series of random numbers pop onto the screen. Except they're not random. They're apparently coordinates. Only one player has ever gone to the coordinates the game gave him, and when he arrived at the location, which was a forest near San Diego, he found a real-life crime scene and the dead body of a missing little girl. Now, at number 6 is Kill Switch. Now, this one is sus because no one could ever confirm or provide evidence that this game actually existed. Despite there being no evidence, there were extremely detailed accounts of every part of the game, from the plot, the soundtrack, gameplay, puzzles, and more. The plot of the game follows this woman that randomly wakes up at the bottom of a coal mine injured. From there, she has to make it through the mine, battling undead miners, possessed machine machinery and demons and somehow make it out alive. Now what's interesting about this game is that it gives you the option of who you want to play as. You can be Porto, the girl, or you can be Gast, an invisible demon. Most people played as Porto, since playing as Gast was literally impossible since you had no idea where he was, so how are you meant to get through the obstacles? The reason no one has ever been able to confirm the game existed is because as soon as you finish the game, it deletes itself from the user's computer. The game file wouldn't allow copying onto another laptop, and only 5,000 copies of the game were ever created. Now I'm a bit mad that I didn't get to play this game. Coming in at number 5 is Ben Drowned. This is one of the most famous urban legends surrounding a video game ever, and it involves a haunted copy of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Now don't get me wrong, the game alone is already creepy as hell since the world is on the brink of collapse, and on top of that, an anonymous person managed to find a corrupted version of the game. The boy went home and loaded up the game on his Nintendo 64 and saw that there was one save file on it already titled Ben. Thinking nothing of it, the user created a new file, but even after doing that, the characters of the game would only call him Ben. The game was off, things were more distorted than they should have been, even safe areas didn't look safe. What made matters worse was the statue that looked like Link stalked the player the whole time he was playing. The boy who owned the cartridge before him died in a lake, and the game is clearly still haunted by him. If a person tries to delete the Ben save file, then a message saying you shouldn't have done that appears on the screen. After that, the user starts getting psychologically tormented by the enraged spirit of Ben. At number 4 are creepy children. Now I've never played the MMO World of Warcraft, but a bunch of my friends play it and they love it. I personally know about Loll more than I know about WoW, but that's because I guess more of my friends have played it. Either way, WoW players have reported seeing a group of 6 NPC kids they later started referring to as the creepy children. The kids just stand around randomly near the town of Goldshire and Elwyn, but the weirdest part is that they stand in the shape of a pentagon. Other players have even reported hearing growls, crying and screaming while standing in the middle of the formation. Now I definitely don't think WoW producers intentionally put in those 6 NPCs, so could the game have been hacked? It is online after all, but even then, what was the purpose other than just creeping people out? Like, someone make it make sense. Filling at number 3 slot is GTA or Grand Theft Auto. Now I said this in my video games that are illegal series, and I'll say it again and again, I bloody love GTA. San Andreas was my favorite, it always has been. I remember my sister used to make me play it on mute so I couldn't hear any of the swearing because I was too young. Lol, wonder how that plan went. Either way, if you haven't played, then GTA San Andreas is this open world game where you can either go along with the storyline and finish it, or literally just be on your and kill pedestrians and steal their cars. Players have reported seeing very strange things in the game, like run-down cars on the road without a driver, haunted houses, and of course Bigfoot himself. The player who found him claimed he was lurking deep in the woods of Flint County, and people believed him. San Andreas had a lot of Easter eggs in it and accurate references to real life, so who's to say they didn't put Bigfoot in there just for fun? Some players found him and took pictures of him before posting it online, whereas other people had zero luck. Rockstar even added fuel to the legend by featuring it in GTA 5. Franklin has to hunt down this Bigfoot impersonator who just creepily really enjoys the creature. Also, GTA 5 was overrated, I did not enjoy it. Now at number 2 is Fallout 3. Now I haven't personally played Fallout, but I think everyone has at least heard of the Fallout franchise. Released in 2008, Fallout 3 is set in a post-apocalyptic open world, which is essentially the ruins of Washington, D.C. All throughout the game, your player picks up radio transmissions that, if correct, will be a list of numbers followed by Morse code. Legend has it one of the transmissions was 1255282010. What are you talking about? You will be missed. The phrase "what you talking about, Willis" was made famous by actor Gary Coleman, who died at 12:05 p.m. on May 28, 2010, and that date and time matches the numbers on the radio transmission. So did the game predict Gary's death, or was it just an extremely huge fluke? You guys decide below. And finally, at number 1 is Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy is one of the best franchises in the gaming world, in my opinion. I used to watch my best friend Jude play it when we were growing up, so I have a personal attachment to it. Now, people loved Final Fantasy VII, which meant 8 had to be insane, but critics said it was 50-50. The first disc is great, but the second disc is where most problems arise. At the end of disc 1, Squall, the character you're playing as, gets impaled in the chest with an ice pick, and you presume that you're dead. However, at the start of disc 2, your wound is magically healed, and you never find out how it happened. happened. Either way, you continue on with the game. Complicated characters from disc 1 become a lot simpler, and you eventually win the heart of the girl you like, despite her not even liking you in disc 1. After the final battle of the game, Squall has this extended hallucination wherein his love interest's face is always a blur, and the one look we get at Squall himself, his face is a black hole. That ending had players believe that Squall did die after disc 1 and that disc 2 was either full of his dreams or it was just his afterlife. And that is it for today's video, guys. Honestly, let me know if you guys want a part 2. There is so many video game urban legends. I would love to make this into a series. You guys know Gamer Girl is activated. Also, let me know if you're an Xbox person or a PlayStation person down below. I'm a PlayStation person, I'm not gonna lie. I also had the Game Boy, fight me. Either way, I have been your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!